Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am standing out at the corner of Willow Grove and Douglas Avenue, right here in Winmore, PA. You can see Douglas Avenue. I am standing actually on Douglas Avenue right outside. You will see these huge, and I can't get back far enough, I'll try to get across the street and take a shot of them, but these are the main gate pillars and what's left of the fence that was Whitemarsh Hall, this Gilded Age mansion. This is actually the huge pillar that was the guard entrance, and you can see the pillar here down the wall, and you can see this one right here. This is the original stone wall that's grown over the pillar. You can see the metal which was cut out of these walls, which was actually the higher gates, and I'll zoom in. You can see the metal that was cut out of this looks like it's just regular stone. It may be some sort of granite or whatever, but it's beautifully carved. And as you can see, the wall here is rather old. Beautiful stonework and masonry, though, and that went into building this wall. It of itself must be very, very expensive. This is actually the entryway to what was Whitemarsh Hall, where Stonesbury used to live. Right here, I would imagine this looks like somebody's home right now, but it looks like it was converted. It's built in the same style of sort of a Gilded Age home, and I would imagine that this home redone is where somebody lives, but it was probably the old guardhouse or one of the servants' quarters. Now I'm going to walk across the street if I can safely and get a picture of this whole outlook or this whole main gate so you can get it in all its splendor from across the street. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've made it across the street, and I just wanted to give you an idea of the beautiful high entrance columns here that used to be Whitemarsh Hall. As you can see, as the cars zip by here, rush hour traffic, there are pillars that lay out where the wall was actually cut off. You can see the end column there, and if I zip back past the gate, you could see the other end column over there in the trees. This was actually what people first saw when they drove up to Whitemarsh Hall. We are now going to go back to the back where the ruins of the Gilded Age mansion now stand. As you drive, I will take shots as I walk back across the street. You can see my car in the foreground. I'm going to try not to get hit as I quickly run across the street here. As I walk through the main gate, you can see that this is actually now a neighborhood with residential streets. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, continuing down from the guardhouse, before we get to the main estate, everything is pretty much cut off. This is the older neighborhood. We're in the 1950s neighborhood. You can actually see one of the statues that laid in these gardens. This is actually, I believe it's a statue of Zeus. I am not 100% sure what the statue is of. I'll have to look. There's nothing really there. It's actually on the corner of somebody's property, so you can imagine how great it is to see that they actually have the stonework and wall from the garden. So this is somebody's private property that is now edged with what used to be one of the beautiful gardens of Stonesbury, and you can see in the woods here there's actually very similar a very similar fenceway that would have been in the front of the house to mark the beginning or end of actually a garden. And you can see it up here more clearly. We can get really close to it at 1209 now, which is what it's called. But there's a house back here, and you can see very similarly that there is a wall. When we go to Lynnewood Hall later, you will see a wall or a very short, like, little break or fence area that looks exactly like this, right in front of Lynnewood Hall. The one you'll see at Lynnewood Hall marked the end of the garden towards the house. But as you can see, there are still garden spaces here, and the wall was cut to provide for driveway space. This is where this is the statue again, as you can see. And if I turn around over here, there's this huge, beautiful fountain, which was actually at the head of the garden as you come in, and it is actually the first thing that you saw in Stonesbury's estate. There is the face of one of the fountains. This shot water into the fountains, and right now around the outside there are flowers in what used to be the tubs for the fountain. Up on top, a beautiful piece of art. And let's get closer to the fountain so we can see the details. As you come around, these stone pillars are fairly common. We saw them up by the guard entrance there to the home, or what would have been the guard entrance to the home. And here we go. As you can see, the fountain and the eyes of the statue, very, very intricate detail. And then now there are actually filled in with flowers. Somebody keeps this very nice and obviously loves this fountain. You can see how tall it is, the sheer height of it. See if we can find any markings with regard to the artist. I don't see any, but each one of these is sort of the same. Interesting, very interesting. Again, just to give you some perspective, there is that wall again. We'll zoom in on the wall. This marked the beginning of the garden right here. And directly ahead would be what was the estate. So directly over this house you'll see trees have grown, but that would have been where the estate is. And we're going to drive around there so you can see what remains of the estate. Here is that statue again that would have marked the entrance to the gardens, or one of the entrances to the gardens. Now, there was probably another statue along this way that led out to the end there, and it looks like there's a pillar there of some sort, so it looks like a statue may have been removed, or there's a rock there or something, but there's a driveway there now, so I would imagine the people didn't want a statue right in front of their house. But that's probably the end of that pillar, which actually probably had another statue adorning the other end, and you would enter the garden that way. Now, over here, if you look, the bronze fountain at Lynnewood, just like Whitemarsh, was done by a gentleman, and the whole garden was laid out by a gentleman named Gerber. He was a Parisian artist, and you could see right here on this statue, H. Gerber, Paris, 1925. So H. Gerber, Paris, 1925, looking at that. And look at the detail that was once on the statue. You could see all the berries and the gifts to Zeus. Looks like he's sitting on his throne. He's being protected and fished for. It's a very, very wonderful piece of art.